Because he does amazing things, even though people come just pouring down in his life with all kinds of problems and issues and whatever. You know, remember the guys that came up with Jesus and they threw this prostitute or this woman that was caught in adultery at Jesus' feet. Now, it'd been real easy for him to just get up and just blast these guys. Knowing every one of them in their hearts, he could have called them by name and just blew them away. You've done this and you've done that. And he didn't. You watch this calm person, Jesus, just stoop down and he writes in the book. He's not affected by what's going on. Now he's concerned for that woman's sin, the life that she needs to do that's different, and all the rest of the people out there. But he doesn't explode inside, even though the world does revolve around Jesus. And yet, his action's so different. So this challenge of being proactive causes you to do things differently. Now, look back at Matthew chapter 5 with me for just a moment, because this is what Jesus is talking about. As he lays the foundation in the Beatitudes, all these things about blessed are you who mourn, blessed are you who are poor in spirit. He's talking about what's happening inside you. He deals with a lot of hard issues all the way through. Verse 38, he says, you've heard it said. These are the philosophers that are floating the ideas around that everybody seems to think is the right way to live, in other words. You've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, that is basically stimulus, reaction. Something happens your way, and you just jam right back. Guy gives you the left hand, you slap him back. You know, just... Jesus said, I tell you, do not resist an evil person. But whoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other to him also. If anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile and really just forcing you, you don't just bitterly go through it and just at the end say, that's it. Rather, you go too. Verse 43, you've heard that it was said you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. That's the philosophy going on around here. You know, just make sure that you're good friends with the people that are good friends to you and forget the rest of the world. But I say you love your enemies and bless. Actually, do something good for those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. Here's how God does it. He makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good. He sends the rain on the just and on the unjust. Proactive life Jesus lived. Now, boy, that's so easy to talk about and so difficult to live. Because inside us is this nature within us. That guy deserves, and I'm going to, or after all of this series of things happen to you, you just, I'm tired of it. Have you ever said that? I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. Hey, so what? Who isn't? But Jesus never took any of those rights and exploded and reacted in ways that was not fitting. He held a constance that was incredible because of the peace that was within. Now, mind you, this is just one habit out of several we're going to talk about here. And each one of these is so integrally woven together that they don't stand alone. And you go, oh boy, how on earth am I ever going to put this together? I am just barely getting here on Sunday morning as it is. I know. Me too. Now you're the preacher. You're right there with you. But it's possible with the help of the Lord. It's so incredibly possible. But there's a choice involved. And each one of us have a choice. See, this idea of stimulus coming in, these circumstances, or life treated me, or I've been dealt these things, therefore this is all I can be, is a bunch of garbage. Because we still have the opportunity to choose. We still have a responsibility. And you break the two words apart, and basically what you have is you have a response and the ability to choose how you respond. Response ability that God's given us as Christians. He's enabling us with the power to respond differently than the rest of the world out there. The ability is there. We have response ability as Christians. God has not left us alone. Therefore, in Joshua 24, when Joshua is talking in verse 15 there, and he says, choose you this day who you'll serve. You have a choice. Nobody has robbed you of your choice just because certain things don't go wrong the way you'd like them to. Because the world doesn't revolve around you. It happens to every one of us. But I can still choose to follow Jesus in spite of that. That passage that Paul talks about in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Be not conformed to this world. In other words, I'm not going to let the world make me respond in a certain way, or live in a certain way, or act in a certain way, just because they're pushing against me and causing me, or wanting to cause me to react. But be transformed. There's an injection in there of something new. It's the power of God to choose differently than what the world expects us to do. Let them stand back and wonder how I can do it. Let them marvel at it that the power of God's working through me, but I'm going to be what I'm going to be. Period. Proactive. I'm not going to let somebody's sour day ruin mine too. I'm going to be this way regardless. I'm going to live this way in spite of what the world's doing out there, because I'm called to be different as a Christian. So when the rest of the world is living in the mud and the mire and all the immorality that's out there, I'm going to live differently. I don't have to respond to that stimulus that way. I can be with the power of God, proactive, and choose to live differently. Next week, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about beginning with the end in mind. That the choices that we make out there are choices because we already want to have this conclusion out here. Amen. So when I make these choices, I'm going to make a decision about it, being proactive, and I'm going to do it with the thought of what's going to happen down here, not Amen. Today or the next day.
Amen.
And then number 3 is putting first things first. And they all tie together. Not an easy thing. But I really believe that Jesus had it together. And that when he walked this earth, he lived in such a way that it just blew people's minds. Even the kings, when they would call on him and be interrogating him, just stand there and say, don't you know I have the power to release you? Jesus looked at him and said, you wouldn't have it if it hadn't been given to you. Didn't unnerve him. He wasn't worried about going to the cross. He knew what he had to deal with. He had his value system. And he made his choices. How about you? Think about it. You want to step up to the challenge. It'll make a difference in your life. The issues will come. The hardships will pile on top of you. You'll have things happening all the time. But you have a choice. You have a choice. And if life is falling apart right now and you've never made a choice for Jesus, boy, this is the time to start. Because life's going to keep falling apart. And it doesn't matter how old or how young you are. It's all worth rearranging our life to live around so we have the peace that we're supposed to have. Do you need the prayers of the church this morning? Just try to get it together. Have you ever been baptized in Christ? And put on Christ in baptism? We have space down front. Try to help you assemble it together. Whatever you need, would you come while we stand?